Hello folks and welcome back to the channel. In this video today I'm going to give you my thoughts and impressions on the final production unit of the Bigscreen Beyond. Now if you've been around for a while and watched some of my videos, thank you for that by the way, you may have seen that I've been testing out a prototype version of this headset. Well, I'm very pleased to tell you that Bigscreen has now sent over the final unit which I'm using today. So I think the first thing to do is just show you some of the unboxing process, simply because it's changed. It's got more premium and it feels even better than it was before. The box itself is much smaller. In fact, it's quite crazy how small the box is and gives you an impression of what to expect from this headset, of course being the most smallest and tiniest VR headset in the world, only weighing about 127 grams. Absolutely crazy. So as you can see there, we have not just the head strap, but we've also got a supporting headband type strap as well. That is great to see, and I'll talk about that more later on. In terms of the device itself, it just looks even better than before, and I really like how the lenses just look gorgeous. The overall feeling of the build quality is top notch. It's right up there in my opinion with the likes of the Vario Aero. So a massive congratulations to Bigscreen. It really does feel like a premium experience. So let's just back up slightly and I'll just explain to you what the Bigscreen Beyond is, because you may not be aware of what this headset's all about. So Bigscreen themselves actually wanted to make a headset which was all day comfortable. They got fed up themselves, being VR enthusiasts, with the real bulkiness of modern day headsets, of the likes of even the Quest, let alone the Pimax. There's pretty much every headset out there, let's face it, is too big. So they wanted to build the world's smallest VR headset, but with no compromises to that image quality. So inside of this headset, you've got two micro OLED displays, and I think the resolution is 2560 by 2560, running at either, 75 Hz natively or upscaled to 90 Hz. We're using a 75 Hz today, and actually for flight simulation, you don't need anything more. It feels great. So all that sounds fantastic, of course, but the party piece of the Bigscreen Beyond is that you scan your face using an app on an iPhone, which I don't have by the way. I have an Android, so I'd recommend finding a friend who has an iPhone to do that, and that goes back to them and they make a facial interface which is exactly the contours of your face shape. So this one is 65 in terms of the IPD, and it's specially made so that every time I put the headset on, it's always in the sweet spot. Not only that, it means it's way more comfortable because it just fits on my face like it's not even there, and there's zero light leakage. So even though this OLED panel isn't the brightest I've ever seen, because there's no light leakage, my eyes sort of adapt to it better, and it feels bright enough for me, absolutely. Although I will say that I'm not a massive fan of really bright VR headsets anyway, but this feels fantastic. I also want to mention that there's zero Mura in this display. It is absolutely as clear as anything I've ever seen. When looking at the sky with most VR headsets, in fact all of them, there's always a little bit of sort of inconsistencies with the panel, with the pixel, sorry, which gives you a bit of a grey image on the screen. However, with this, it looks so good, like looking at the sky with my own eyes, I've got to say. And there's obviously zero screen door effect as well with that panel. It just looks epic, guys. It really does. So what are the changes? What's different with the final production model? Well, first of all, of course, there is the top strap that I'm using. That, I'm glad to say, makes a massive difference to the comfort, because even though this is a super light headset, without that support over your head, I still felt that, I could feel it a little bit on my nose after a while. Well, I'm pleased to say with that, it makes the headset the most comfortable device I've ever worn. That includes that of the Varia Aero. So yeah, this is now the most comfortable headset I've ever worn. I think the only other thing to mention is there isn't a lot of ventilation, so on a hot day you may feel a bit clammy, but the facial interface is washable. It doesn't absorb sweat, so you can wipe it clean. But if that's a thing that bothers you, just consider that you might feel a bit hot in this headset on a very hot day. However, this test I'm doing today, I've already been in it for just over an hour and I feel great. And you know, it's just fantastic to feel like you almost are just wearing a pair of glasses. It's just so light, so I can move around and look around. I'm doing it very sort of slow on the camera because I appreciate VR footage can look a bit nauseating. But if I were to look around really fast, the headset does not move at all. It's a huge feature of this device that, you know, the inertia of larger headsets really plays into its own when you're dogfighting. Of course, today I've elected just to fly around in my Spitfire because I'm talking about the headset. It's best to just focus on the important things that you want to know. Today, it's a peacetime mission. So there we are. It's more comfortable than the prototype. Here's another thing that's good news for this headset. The sweet spot is better. In fact, it's really good now. That is another complaint that I did make about the prototype, that for pancake lenses, I was hoping for a better sweet spot. Now, if I sort of center myself in the cockpit, I can read pretty much most of the gauges there. It's not until I get to the far outer edges that it starts to get a bit blurry. You know, but if you consider the fact that these micro OLED panels are absolutely tiny, those lenses are so tiny, I can't believe how clear this looks. Another thing that I've noticed is there's far less chromatic aberration, and the actual distortion of the colours, where if you look at the sky and around the edges there's a bit of tinting, that's something that's also now pretty much gone. So it's not all good news, unfortunately, and no VR headset is perfect. And I'm afraid to say that this device still suffers from glare. And for me, it's at the bottom sort of portion of the display. And the best way I can describe that is if I look forward now and then look down with my eyes, the altimeter is right within that glare area. And it's always there, whether it's a daytime scene or a nighttime scene. So, you know, it's one of those things. I'm used to aspheric lenses, which has zero God rays, zero glare. And once you've been used to that, you are spoiled. But, you know, if I'm using, say, other pancake lenses, and particularly Fresnel lenses, then it's not so bad in comparison. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Bigscreen Beyond as my daily driver for at least 2 to 3 weeks. And after that, I'm going to give you sort of an update video on whether I've got used to the glare, whether it's still an issue for me. At the moment, it's still a bit of an annoyance for me. And it'll be interesting to see if after those 2 to 3 weeks, when I go back to another headset, whether that trade-off, because this thing is so comfortable, it's so light, it almost feels like I'm not wearing a VR headset, whether that trade-off of the glare is worth it. So another thing I want to mention, of course, is the OLED panel. It is absolutely phenomenal in this thing, and flying at night is just spectacular. It will blow your socks off. It really will. You know, I mean, headsets like the Pimax Crystal with local dimming does a good job, but there is blooming. But with this, it is pure, you know, black. It's just gorgeous. Like, I can't tell you enough how amazing it feels to fly at night in the Bigscreen Beyond, or even say a sunset scene. Oh, the colours are just gorgeous. And there is no other headset that can compete with this, because OLED rules, there's no doubt about it. And I don't know about you folks, but I've been waiting for a high resolution OLED panel for many, many years now. Not to mention this form factor. And in terms of the aesthetic appearance of the headset, I've got to say, I know this doesn't matter, or it's not, you know, it shouldn't matter, but this looks frigging cool. I think it's the most beautiful looking VR headset that's ever been made. It really is, especially with that blue LED as well. It's fantastic. So to recap, this is still a phenomenal headset, and it's got better now because you've got a better sweet spot, it's more comfortable, and just the, you know, build quality of the device feels absolutely right up there with the best. And I think really the only main factor for me, the only thing that niggles me is that glare. So I wonder if that will be a problem in 2 or 3 weeks' time. I will let you know, guys, I absolutely will. But again, a massive shout out to Bigscreen Beyond for sending this over. And if this has been really useful for you, not just this, but the, you know, all of the videos I've done, then please do use my affiliated link down in the description below. It really does help the channel. But in the meantime, I'm going to continue using the headset as I say and keep you updated. Thank you so much for watching as always. This has been the Bigscreen Beyond, the retail version of this VR headset. I'm super excited about it. I know many people on my Discord can't wait to get theirs. And yeah, as I say, I'll keep you updated. But for now, take care and I'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye for now. One more flyby of the Spitfire. See you soon, folks. Take care.